Crazy week, eh? Did you have a busy week?
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, I am now live. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This is market analysis for December 13th, 2024, brought to you by the next generation of merchants. We are pioneering the fourth industrial revolution, finding the opportunities of this wealth cycle and making sure that we capitalize on it as much as possible. Today, I'm just going to go ahead and mute everybody else. I'm going to see other guests come in as time goes on, and I'll add them to the call. But I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. Oh, maybe not quite yet. I'll just get the right screen up. Close that one and bring this one over here so that it stays on my other side. And put that there so that I can grab my bookmarks because I've got notes today. Perfect. Now we can get my charts over on the screen. There we go. Trading View. Folks, if you don't have Trading View yet, definitely a good app to have. The free version does everything that I need. If you want to have live notifications, you can definitely subscribe for their monthly services, but don't feel that it's necessary to do what it is that we do. All right, I can now share. So today we're going to run through all of the assets that we have in our watch list. It is Friday after all, and so we're going to finish up the end of the week with a good old summary of how things are going. Over the last day, we've seen silver actually take a tumble from its previous attempt at reaching previous resistance. It has not been able to succeed as expected, and we anticipate it didn't even reach this trend line here. It couldn't even make it. It's already pulled back. Oh, what is this? Like 3%? Oh, look at that 5.5% drop already in the last 2 days on silver. Now, bear in mind, folks, the reason why this is happening is because the faith in the metals goes down as the faith in fiat goes up. And the same thing we're seeing in gold as well. Even though it managed to push a little bit higher into resistance, again, same idea. It's now dropped 2.5% since yesterday's high. And I don't believe that we will be attempting to create some more highs, that if the price does go up, it's not going to be because there is increased faith in the precious metals, but rather simply because of inflation. And as we know, gold is not an investment, it is a hedge. And so I do believe, though, that over the next few months, especially as the AI bubble really boosts the American economy, I believe that we will see gold and silver decline and possibly find some support even as low as the 2200, 2300 level, and that it may even decline to the $2,000 level. This is my plan to come into gold at the end of this bubble, or as the bubble is coming to a close. I will not be in the crypto markets maybe $100, $200 tops in the crypto markets after this bubble pops. I will likely be exiting about a week before the end of this bubble. And yes, my intention is to convert all of my cryptos into physical assets like gold, silver, land, so on and so forth. US 30 Dow Jones Industrial Index has not had a good day since it reached that all-time high on December 4th. It has been declining ever since. Every day having another bearish candle. Today's formation is just getting started, but it's down over last week. It's down 2.65%. Again, please do not think that the fact that we are forming new highs all the time that means that the economy is going well. Please remember, inflation has made this entirely fabricated. If we go back and we bring things back to 2020, we can see that all of this incline here has been a result of the the money printers just diluting the currency's value so that it requires more dollars to have the same valuation of an economy that's crashing. And of course, if you can print fast enough, you can make it look like a crashing economy is doing well. And as we know, this eventually will likely crash. As it will crash for sure. I'm saying it will likely return to these levels here, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a 58% drop. And that's going to occur at the end of this bubble, where it falls back down and finds a new support level at a proper valuation of the market's value. Crypto 30, similarly to the US 30, where top 30 companies within the United States is indexed within the Dow Jones Industrial Index. Crypto 30 also has its own little index here, giving us an idea of the sentiment within the crypto markets. As you can see there, this week we had the big drop, and ever since then it's been rallying to find a new support. And we can likely find that this pullback here has already found that support. Now, there are a lot of people who are very doom and gloom about this bull run that we're currently in, and they're saying that it will likely drop down to these levels here. It very well may, but I do believe that we are done, and the reason I say that is because this week we have seen another, I think it was $3 or $4 billion within the last, just within this week, another $3 or $4 billion being invested in by the institutions who are selling the ETFs, and these are the contracts on a financial instrument that allows for leverage. And so, as these traders are coming forward with these leveraged trades, we're likely to see the price go up. It doesn't mean that the price is not manipulated by no stretch of the imagination. The price is definitely manipulated as a result of these ETFs. However, because of the timing of things and because of how much money these big companies need to make off of all of their AI investments that are going under, they need to make it look like things are going really well, because at this point in the game, they're running out of money so fast they need the retail traders to come in. That's people like us, because they know that the vast majority of us are not going to be smart enough to leave when the bubble is at its peak. Well, following our market analyses every day, you'll be able to easily identify when it's time to leave the market, because I can assure you, it doesn't matter how good you think you are at this. You will never want to be inside a market while it's going poorly. And at the same time, it's better to be outside of the market, wishing you were in it, than being in the market, wishing like hell you want out. And so by tuning in every day, you'll be able to get a good sense of when these next movements are going to occur. And again, on the Crypto 30, I believe that we are seeing this index continue to rise, and we'll be creating some new all-time highs in the next week. Bitcoin, already showing some signs of coming back to life. Now, of course, if we zoom into the 2-hour chart here, this is where we are utilizing, we're just finding more details in the price action by going to a 2-hour chart. We can see that after that all-time high was formed, the decline that we had earlier this week brought us down by only 11%, and that is not that much. Now, I'm not saying that we are ready to go ahead and break above this. However, we can see, and there goes an ambulance by. We can see, though, that this high here did beat out the previous high. And so this is an indication that we are ready to challenge that all-time high. Now, in order for me to know that we are, in fact, in a bull run, we do need to break out above that all-time high. However, one of the biggest reasons why I can see that that all-time high is ready to be challenged without further decline in the markets is this trend line right here got formed. And as we can see from this high here, that trend line provided that resistance, but not for long. because after it broke out, it is now finding support on the top side of this downward trend, which means usually that we are ready for the next push. So the next price impulse, where will it take us? Well, as you can see from my squiggly line here, I did anticipate there being some resistance around this area because the $100,000 mark did already have, it has such a psychological effect on the market that once it gets there, people are like, oh, I'm selling. Look at all the money I made. And then, of course, we see the pullback. Well, in this particular bull run, what we're actually watching is money leaving Bitcoin and going into the altcoins. So as that ecosystem is getting reshuffled, we're going to see that pullback in Bitcoin. And this is one of the reasons why I am not of the mind that Bitcoin is going to go over 200,000. Now, I could be wrong, could very well be wrong. But the reason why I don't think it will go above 200,000 is because of simply how much of an ecosystem there is for people to put their liquidity instead of Bitcoin. And so, yes, it will go up, but only because people are buying and needing to exchange with their other currencies. But that it will likely increase at a slower rate than the rest of the ecosystem, simply by virtue of the opportunities that are available when you start looking at individual companies. Of course, with Ethereum, this here we haven't actually formed that new high that we're looking for to call this trend continued. In fact, at the moment after this high that we formed here, the low actually beat out the previous low to find support in this old consolidation zone. That is okay so far. It doesn't mean that we're in a bearish trend, but be mindful that the high that we've created since this low over this week has not been able to beat out the previous high. And so we do not have a continuation yet. In fact, we have an alert of a reversal. What does it mean? It means that what I would do is that if I wanted to enter into Ethereum with more long positions, I would want to wait until the price comes back to retest this line. Because it's lower than the previous low, and because of how much it was tempting to go into this area of consolidation, this low here is it is very likely that it will come back to retest this. Now, there is also, because of how much money has been coming in, yes, we're seeing it funnel into all of the different layer 2 coins. However, with how much has come in with the institutions, they may not wish to have their balances and their portfolios look very negative right after making such a big investment. And so I believe we will see a little bit more of a rally and possibly work our way up to that all-time high. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here into the daily chart so we can see how far we are from there. Right now, we are about 23% away from that all-time high, and I do suspect that that all-time high will provide some resistance and bring that price back down by a factor of 20 to 30%, which would place us back around here in this same area where we've seen a lot of price action. That pivot point is going to provide, it's going to be like a magnet for the price action, especially once we start testing that all-time high or pushing above it. So what's the trade plan for Ethereum? Again, I would be holding off for now and waiting. If we do have another bearish pullback, that will increase the likelihood of if we have a bearish pullback, that will increase the likelihood of a bullish impulse. So right now, my strategy, as with all of the coins that I'm currently in, is to look for another pullback. If we see another one testing new lows, that again is it's like confirmation that we are definitely ready to go higher. And the reason I talk like that is because this is the AI bubble, folks. I would not be talking like this under normal circumstances. I would be deferring to technical analysis far greater. But because of the narrative, and because, of course, Trump saved the day down in America, everybody has a lot more faith in the markets. And, of course, within technology. In fact, just want to give you guys a heads up. Audrey, one of our members, shared a link with me earlier this week that Grand Prairie is actually is slated to become the hometown for the world's largest AI data center, which is being built by by Kevin O'Leary and his company. And so, largest data center in the world built by Kevin O'Leary near Grand Prairie. Very fascinating news. I want to thank you, Audrey, for bringing that to my attention. Let's move on. ADA, after that pullback, good old Cardano, we had that pullback come in at the 30% mark, and that is all that I need to know that we are ready for that next movement up. Once we reach this point, statistically speaking, we in a technical trade scenario, again, because of the bubble, we can't always go off of the technical analysis. However, with this type of retracement, statistically, that is a 66% chance of the impulse occurring. So we have a 66% chance of re-entering our bullish movements. And if, again, it's the same idea, if it goes down below this, it's time to back the truck up and buy some more, because the likelihood only goes higher the further down we drive that price. Again, I don't believe that we are in a situation where this price will continue to go down, simply because of the influx of money that's coming in. There billions of dollars a day. Billions of dollars a day are coming in, and in fact, I think that by the end of this cycle, we will likely see the market cap for all of crypto reach $10 trillion. Solana. This particular coin is favored amongst folks who are in the community building industries. And by community building, I mean they are looking to build online communities wrapped around cultures of gaming and, well, you name it, AI, gaming, real world assets. And it's the memes that are typically being put onto this chain. As a result, we will see a major bull run here coming from Solana, and that since this all-time high, this formation that we're seeing here is actually quite consistent, and that just simply means that every time it goes down, we have that higher likelihood of coming back up, and that the pullback that we've had since that all-time high is actually only at 22%. Now, I would expect that the big retracement that we want to see before we have that confidence and assurity that we are headed back up, I do like to see that 30% pullback. That's just a crypto thing. It seems to be very consistent across the board. And so it's not to say that we are continuing to go down. However, if we look at the technical analysis, these lows continue to go lower, and these highs, they are continuing to go lower. Now, some people say, oh, but look, Paul, this bar right here is higher, has a higher high than this one. Yes, but as we can also see, if I zoom in a little bit closer with that 2-hour chart, we'll find that this high here was merely a wick. This is simply a wick, so that does not indicate that we have a breakout. Yes, the price did go above, but it is simply a wick, that there was no close that occurred above that location. Now, again, that's a loose rule of thumb, and because of technical analysis, that how much technical analysis goes out the window when we are in cryptos, that's why I'm saying this is technically not a high forming higher. We have been forming lower lows, or lower highs and lower lows within Solana, and that even since this high here, it has been coming back down. Now, I do expect that this location here, this low that we formed this week on the, what was this? Yeah, this was back on Tuesday. On Tuesday, this low that was formed is finding support here, which provided that resistance in the past, and then provided the support for that all-time high to be formed. So I believe that this will provide some more support, that there will be, I think that there will be another test of this level before we continue up. Now, I do have a little squiggly line here. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because it's quite irrelevant at this point, and I wasn't as accurate. When I drew this, I was thinking to myself, this is where we would likely continue to drop, but I'm changing my mind on that simply because now I'll zoom in and show you what's happening. The reason why I'm thinking that we are done, and why we will, if it does continue to drop down like it has been, that it will likely find support here, and the reason why is because of this double bottom that occurred. In a period a very short period of time from Monday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it dipped down and then immediately within 4 hours went back up 8.52%. And then immediately after that, it only took a few more hours. What was it? 9 more hours for it to drop yet again. And what is it? How much did it drop again? Another 8%. And then coming back up, finding resistance at this point. This is where it's provided some support in the past. You can see lots of price action bouncing above and below this line. So this provided some resistance and we're pushing back down again. But this double bottom tells me that this is our support line, that if we do come back down again, it'll be a great, it'll be going on sale. Solana will go on sale with a discount of 9%. But that will likely be that support that we need for the bounce up. And it may not even come down this low. Why? Because we already had the double bottom over here. So trade plan for this one, honestly, if I was you for Solana, I would start depositing right now. And as the price goes down, you continue to deposit larger amounts. That's called dollar cost averaging, which lowers the average price of every coin that you're purchasing so that you can increase your returns on the way back up. That is how the wealthy do this all the time. They simply do it across longer periods of time. And to the degree that you wish to find these opportunities more frequently, you need to spend more time in front of the screen to identify these opportunities. This right here, this strategy, by dollar cost averaging your way down here, you are in effect doing it in a shorter time frame than the wealthy who do it across months. They're watching these trends occur across 6 to 12, 18, 24 months, and they're using the same strategy. Simply, they don't stand in front of the computer all the time because they've got teams that do that kind of thing. So kind of taking a little while there on these assets because I like to explain what's going on. Injective token, please, as I go through this, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments. And if you could, please give me a like and a subscribe so that the algorithm helps boost the content and we can help more people become the next generation of merchants and take opportunity of these and take advantage of these opportunities. Next, we've got the injective token. Definitely one of my favorite coins going into this bull run, simply because of its dedication to bring interoperability between all of the different coins so that we don't have to think about which coin do you use and which coin do I use and make all the conversions, but that they're looking to create bridges between these ecosystems so that we don't even have to worry about using exchanges and middlemen to make our transactions occur across our contracts. So the injective token right now has had a beautiful retracement of 31%. That is more than enough for us to recognize we are back in the game. However, we can see that we are noticing some consolidation. Earlier this week on Market Analysis, I was saying that it's very likely, because after this occurs, whenever we see a big drop, what happens is that the market starts to consolidate down to a point. And I believe we're already starting to see that consolidation take shape. In fact, I can show you right now what that looks like in the past. Whenever we've had a big dip, here's an example here, where there's a dip and then a retracement, and then it just kind of consolidates, not forming new highs or new lows, but it just kind of stops for a bit and wiggles around. Well, I believe that on a more macro level today, we're going to be experiencing that over the next couple of, probably, I would say mid next week, towards the end of next week, we'll continue to see consolidation where the highs are not getting higher and the lows are not getting lower, and that they are, in fact, highs are getting lower and the lows are getting higher and coming down to a point. As that energy builds up, you can expect the breakout to occur, and it will likely go the distance of the opening of the consolidation. And for whatever reason, now there are bubbles going across my screen, balloons going across my screen. I guess I shouldn't have used the peace sign to point at the price. Next, we've got Polygon. Another great drop, another great rebound off of this. Oh, I did it again. There we go. Another great rebound coming off of that not all-time high, rather, that new high formed after the election. This high right here, you can see also coincided with this resistance line that I put, or this pivot point line that I drew from before, when we have old price action that's providing an idea of where we can expect resistance and support. And sure enough, after a long time of not challenging that price, I mean, this is back in May. It was the last time it was at this point. And so, of course, that May price point, let's zoom back a little bit. This is May. Of course, that price point has provided some resistance. That's just how the markets work. And so that resistance gave Polygon a 31% retracement. And as a result, we are now entering that consolidation phase. As you can see, this high is not higher. There is a double bottom here. So watch out. We could be going up at any time, but the same rule applies. If you are looking to get in, make sure that you allocate your funds to be spread across this price distance here. And you will add as it goes down. Now, if it does end up consolidating back and forth, we will know soon, because we need to see another high be formed that is lower than this previous high. If we follow this trend line here, that's the line that we would be following. If it ends up narrowing, then just keep on buying, because that gets you into that average price, likely within this area here. Likely within this area here. So this, you can kind of use this pivot line that I have drawn here at the, what is that level? That is at the 58-cent level. This pivot line here is likely to become that equalization point where we will break out one way or the other. 3 protocol. This one here has been continuing to decline, and I do recognize that this one here is now showing some new lows coming in. Now, 3 protocol, because of the way that it is set up, I believe that we're simply seeing a lack of adoption, and it doesn't make it bad. It just means it's delayed. And I say that because 3 protocol, I believe, will end up being a market dominant, gain some market dominance here in the next few weeks. But that right now we're not seeing it because of how many people are still getting used to the crypto sphere and how to use exchanges and how to conduct the trading and so on and so forth. And so right now, a lot of the larger brokers and larger trading platforms like Binance and KuCoin and BitBuy and Crypto.com, Coinbase, that they are getting the most attention at the moment. And that right now, this price action that we're seeing is indicative of a market that doesn't really know what this is. And so I'm going to help you just a little bit. 3 protocol is a platform where you can start, where they're issuing on the Visa network. So this is using a credit card that you can use, similar to a prepaid credit card. We've talked about Koho and ShakePay in the past, where there is actually a credit card number that you can use for online purchases and even paying bills. This platform here is giving access to people, is rather issuing these Visa cards without KYC, meaning that you don't have to submit your identification in order to open an account. Now, I don't know how this works in totality, because Canada, for whatever reason, you're not able to do this, and I believe it's because of the way that Canadian governance is established in the financial sector. And so Canada can't, if you're a Canadian, you can't sign up for 3 protocol. But the world over, there are, I think there's probably 60, 70 nations last time I saw, where you don't need to submit KYC information in order to get this prepaid Visa card. And you can load it up with cryptos and pay directly with cryptos using that Visa protocol. So 3 is not out of the game. Again, coming back to the reason why this decline is occurring is because nobody really knows what this is. People are still learning what KYC is at this point. I mean, the adoption simply isn't there yet for there to be enough market saturation for people to recognize the potential of 3 protocol. But if we take a look at CoinMarketCap and bring up 3 protocol, we can see. Yeah, there it is. We can see that we do have only a $6 million market cap, but with the saturation that we have, there's stability. And so it's only a matter of time. before we see that this stability translates. Once there's more adoption, we know that the stability will support the price action to go up. If we don't have this kind of dilution, if it's not this saturated, then it would indicate to me that this is a weak play. But because of that saturation, because of the timing, and with adoption right around the corner, I believe more and more people are going to be gravitating towards these platforms, especially after they start learning about the different ecosystems that are out there and joining the communities where meme coins are being the lead generator, basically, for a decentralized world where there are no identifiers being traded back and forth. And so, coming back to this asset here, is beautifully positioned for a great movement going up right now, just over 7 cents, with an all-time high of, what is that? All-time high 41 cents. And so that's a nice little 4x for you. So, yeah, well, 6x, 7x even. 7 times 7 is 49. So, yeah, that is a great, yeah, so 6x from here right now. Next, Woo. This is a social trading platform. Again, adoption will be required, but this one has been in the game a lot longer. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the cap on this one as well. So instead of a $6 million market cap, this one here is sitting at about $500 million. So now we're into the mid cap range. A lot more security with Woo than I would say there is in 3, in the sense that there's a lot of money available. But with the innovation that 3 is coming forward, I believe we're going to see that as the adoption comes in, we're going to see that price come up. With Woo, however, this price action here has been maintained a good steady rise over the last little while, with a little bit of a pullback to be understandable. This rise here was wonderful to see this consistency come in before the election. And then, of course, election is right here. Look at that. Right after that low, the election went ahead and gave this nice movement. The retracement that we've experienced in coinciding with the crypto pullback is a 35% drop. That's a great position. That's a great pullback to find support. And we can see, sure enough, it came down and found support where there has been support in the past. And so this is a good indication that we're ready for the next leg up. If in fact it does go up, we will be outside of this channel officially, and this trend line, this trend area, this channel will no longer be relevant to our technical analysis, because we'll be creating some new highs outside of that range. BitTensor, Big Tech's glorious project to bring all of the tech together into one great big huge supercomputer so that they can have more power. This one here I'm not invested in, simply because I'm not that big of a fan of big tech. However, this one is good to watch because it gives us a barometer reading on where we are in the markets. After it has not come back to its full all-time high yet, although this bull run that we experienced after the election definitely created a new high. This pullback here was amazing. Went from $745 down to $480 for a 35% drop. Again, for us in technical analysis, that is more than enough for us to know that we have the support we need. This price difference here, the reason why this occurs is because the institutions go ahead and sell, and they wait to come back in so that their position can increase by 30%. That's what they do. So these drops, that's why we're like, okay, they got their 30%. Now we're going to move up to the next level so that they can do it again. This is a cycle. They do it over and over and over every single time, because it's controlled markets, and we're okay with it, because as long as you recognize the patterns, you can actually profit alongside with them. Next, we've got Fetch. This is a massive AI project, conglomeration of several companies that have been in the game for a long time. One of my favorite AI projects in singularity is a part of this ecosystem as well, and they've been in the game in AI since the 80s. And so this particular chart represents a long-standing legacy of AI development, and I believe it will be a cornerstone for much of the AI development that occurs across several verticals, such as real-world assets, analytics, and then we've got gaming, and also what was the other one? I can't remember. There was another vertical I was going to mention. But these Fetch AI is definitely in position to make the waves it's supposed to over this next little while. As we can see, we have found support. This is on a weekly chart now, so I'm really zooming out here and looking at this from a larger perspective. As you can see, we've got this one trend line that's actually consistent. Starting back here, back in March of 2020 at the all-time low, we can see that this general trend line has been followed quite consistently. Yes, it's been whiplashing all over the place, but we have three main touch points along this trend line that are providing that support. If it does come down, I believe that this line will provide that support for the next movement up. But again, look at this fetch from the all-time high that was formed on March 25th. I am having a difficult time getting my ruler out. There we go. It did a drop 78%. And so this drop here is significant, and we can see, sure enough, that low was a point of resistance in the past. Price action, a lot of price action within this area. Again, I know I'm zoomed out a little bit, and this makes it look like this hasn't been around very long, but bear in mind that each one of these little tiny lines represents 1 week of price action, and so we are going back quite a ways to find this kind of support here. Once we zoom back into that 2-hour chart, we'll see the drop that we had from this high that was formed, 30%. It's ready to go for the next run. Desync, one of my favorite projects in the AI space, especially when it comes to this gold rush. You've heard, if you've been a part of the morning analysis here for any period of time, you hear me talk about how the gold rush, most of the money that was made in the gold rush was not in the gold. It was in the selling the tools and resources for the people to prospect gold. And that's how I equate what Destra is doing on the Destra network. They are focusing on providing the tools necessary for hosting AI. And so I would say that they have gone the direction of NVIDIA. NVIDIA also makes AI chips, but that's not where their money is. In fact, they don't make a lot of money off of their AI chips. Their biggest revenue, the biggest revenue that they earn, is actually from the cloud computing that stores the data that their chips create as AI is generating all of this content for people. And so Destra is following that same methodology by creating infrastructure to host AI, which again goes back to, instead of going out there and trying to find that special piece of gold to free you and your family, you could just go back to town and start selling pickaxes and shovels, and you'll probably make more money. Destra, great asset specifically for that. After that all-time high that was formed shortly after the election on November 30th, since that time we've seen a pullback, and my ruler is again not coming out to play. There we go. That pullback is 26%, and that's fine for me. As we can even see when I zoom in here, we can see that this miniature trend line here, nothing wrong with that. That's likely to provide some resistance, there's no question, but we can also see that we are really not dropping below this level here. And so now this is what's called a bearish pennant pattern. So as we can see, it's like a flag, and as that narrows, that energy builds up. We'll likely see that energy build up to the point where it's here and just can't go anywhere else and needs to break out, likely upwards, simply because of the timing. 0 by 0, another great AI asset. This one in particular is focused on AI privacy. And so here we can see that over the year, we had that same type of thing, that narrowing in, but it didn't get down to a point because, of course, the elections made sure elections started here. So this at election time, we got that nice big boost, found some resistance off of that long-term trend line for the year. And then, oh no, this is not for the year. This is probably what, October? Oh, that's July already. Okay, so this here bounced off of the trend line, came back down, bounced off of the lower trend line, and broke out. And so now, all of this technical analysis served its purpose, and you can pretty much ignore it from here on out simply because we can see that we've created some new highs consistently. Finding a little resistance right now, and that's okay. After this pullback here that we saw, this high, the pullback, again, my ruler doesn't want to come up to play because I'm selected something else. So this where on earth is my ruler? Why does it do that? There we go. This pullback is at 28%. So reach this high and has already pulled back 28%. This looks like such a big movement that this couldn't possibly be a 30% drop, but sure enough it is. Also, please remember that I am using an algorithmic chart, or sorry, a logarithmic chart. So this is not to scale. The distance here is much, much smaller than the distance here, taking the same measurements, okay? So just be mindful of that as you're looking at my charts. ARC, and I do recommend that people use logarithmic scales on their charts simply because of the volatility that is going to be experienced over the next little while. So back to now, we're into ARC. ARC is another great AI project, again, focused on privacy, but now starting to provide some AI support for the gaming industry. We can see here that after the election, there was a great movement along with all of the excitement that came into the crypto space over the last month or so. And since that time, we've actually seen a retracement coming down as low as 45%. This breakout is technically a negative sign in technical analysis. I don't have a loss of faith in what ARC is capable of doing here. However, I am watching intently because if this price action does continue to drop down and we start attempting to break out of the support here at the 3.6 level, I will be considering to trade my position out because this is my entry point here. And if it comes down to here, then I can expect to lose. This is what we call a cost of lost opportunity. It's not that this here is now turning into a negative profit for me. Yeah, that could happen as well. But rather, instead of waiting for it to come back, I could put this money somewhere where it could actually take advantage of the opportunities. And so I'll be watching ARC play out over the next little while. If we drop below this pivot point here that I have drawn from this old location here, if this pivot point doesn't provide that support, I will be looking to swap this coin out for something else. Link AI, this one here is bouncing off of this support here. It was even looking like this was going to become support, but we are tempting that support just a little bit deeper, going back to test some of these highs here. And so we can see that there is a double bounce now, and well, there is even another one deep inside here as well. So this now could very well be the triple bottom that we're looking for. At the same time, both with this and with ARC, we may just be experiencing that pullback in the market. Remember, Link and ARC are both smaller cap coins. This ARC with only a 38 million market cap. It's mostly diluted though, so it's safer in that respect. And then with Link, again, now smaller market cap, 40 million. This one here is not nearly as diluted. And so when this thing does move, we can expect more volatility simply because there isn't too many holders will be left holding the bag of the loss. And so that's why we have so that's why we can expect a little bit more volatility with this one. WorldCoin coming up to, we got the last few here. WorldCoin, this particular asset, as we can see, forming that new high. I don't believe that's an all-time high though. If we tick back, there's lots of room for it to get to the all-time high. Sitting right now at $3.10. We can see that this high that was formed there on December 5th, the retracement has been 39%. In my mind, that's enough. But again, we may still be looking to consolidate after this drop. We do have a close to a double bottom that's occurred, which is nice to see, but we need to see things kind of equalize here. And I would expect that over this next week, we continue to see some consolidation as things are just kind of reorganizing themselves within the market after that drop. But that, again, when we take into consideration how many of these assets are built on Ethereum and how much money has come into the Ethereum through the form of ETFs over this last week, this is not going to be lasting long. In fact, likely to break out after this next week. Neural, possibly even next week. There are schools of thought that are saying, no, that's it, folks. That's all we get for a retracement. We're on to wave 2. Neural AI, a little bit more of a secure one, if I remember correctly. Oh no, this one, Neural AI. Yeah, the market cap's mid. So we're above the 100 million market cap. Great dilution, and so there's this is definitely a good position to be in. As we can see, this is not a very old asset. In fact, it only just opened on the markets earlier this year, just before May. So as we can see, this is a very new project. We could very well be seeing more of a retracement, but if we do, it will not, I don't think it'll be a significant retracement simply because of how much dilution there is. If there is a retracement, maybe 30%. Let's go see what the high is. There's our high. It's forming in after the election at $17.54. When we look at the retracement, it's 28%. It's more than enough. What we may be seeing right now is a consolidation. We're seeing that top not really get pushed beyond, but the bottom, you can see that that bottom is actually, generally speaking, starting to narrow. And so we're coming down to a point that energy buildup is going to let things loose one way or the other. And I believe that we are coming close to the end of the consolidation period after this bull run, and that we have received the confirmation through these retracements that we're headed on our way up. Beam, great little push there this week already. Yep. And then after that point here, it's dropped to 19%. And that's just within the last little while. This is a 2-hour chart, so this is just within the last little while. This movement here occurred essentially immediately after the retracement in altcoins that we experienced, where everybody started to panic and think that it was time to sell. I actually saw people, I got to tell you this, I saw someone sell here. Well, not right there, but when they saw this, they sold. And when did they buy? In here. They said, oh, I bought here and I saw it go up and then I panicked and I sold here. Thank you. Because what you've done now is you've sold to smarter people, and we need more smarter people to become very wealthy going into this next phase. So thank you for your contribution. Beam, with this new high, this low, not even coming close to this low here, tells me that this is another leading indicator that we have more movement going up than down. So even though this retracement has occurred and it freaked a lot of people out, the market is not saying that we are done. And so market is actually communicating very clearly with many of these charts that we are just getting started. Beam, larger market cap, if I remember correctly, this is a mid-market cap. Oh, no, this is already over $1.8 billion. Yeah, with a fully diluted market cap of $2.27 billion. So this has got a great foundation for forward movement. We are already close to the all-time high. But again, this project is not that old. It only goes back to November 23. This is when it came on the market. And so this here, we don't see the big pump and dumps that we normally see with the longer projects that maybe were around in 2021. You know, that big, huge movement that occurred in 2021 and then that big drop, we don't see that occurring within Beam. And yet there is, even though it's a newer project, there's already over $1 billion invested in, almost $2 billion invested into it. And so this is definitely another great barometer of where the markets are in terms of AI. Beam is definitely one of the leaders. PAL, this one here has been doing very well since the big drop that occurred back here. Of course, no crisis ever should go without grabbing the opportunity behind it. And so this PR move that they made where things did not go well, managed to buy it down here, and ever since then experienced some great results. Now, however, this movement here, this is great profit, but I also have a position here that I took before the big drop. And so right now, definitely in profit simply because I purchased a larger amount down here, which lowered my dollar cost average to likely around this area here. I don't have the exact math on that, but this would be my dollar cost average. And so from this point here to this point, I definitely have profit. If this asset drops down and starts looking to retest this line here, where there was this support, then this is a pivot line. If it comes back to test this line, that will be too close to my entry point, and I will likely go ahead and flip this around. I'm not out of the game yet. There's still positive things happening over at Palm, even though they had this negative PR move. They have reestablished themselves very well. In fact, finding support above where it dipped before it dipped. So this chart from a technical standpoint looks great. Their community is still vibrant. They are optimistic. And of course, because they are providing some leadership within the AI community, this kind of thing is to be expected. And B, so is this. FAR. Gaming coin, this one here, I don't believe is going to have the big runs before Christmas that we're going to see in some of the AI coins. This particular one is on the Polygon network, and so it's a smaller market cap. Let's go look at it. Farcana. $17 million market cap with a fully diluted volume of 70 million. So there's some instability that could occur, especially if we see the price fluctuations. There is talk about how Polygon isn't as robust of a system. However, what's interesting, even though Polygon is a layer 2 coin off of Ethereum, the encouraging thing about Polygon is the low fees. You can make huge transactions, $400, $500, $2,000, $5,000, and the fees are always well below 10 cents. And so as a result, I believe that this will provide Farcana in particular, because of the quality of games that they are producing and because of the connections that they are making within AI to have the gaming environment generated live as people are playing with their avatars, that this here is going to do very well, simply because when it started when it first opened earlier this year, this is May 2024 right here. So, March and April when this first came out, price dropped ever since, but the community has maintained its optimism. Their development team is in full production, and they already have a bunch of games out where you can start playing with this coin inside those games. And so it just boils down to adoption of AI combined with their gaming ecosystem, that this price will easily come back to the all-time high. And from where we are right now, that's actually quite an impressive jump, because right now we are sitting at just over 1.5 cents per coin. And I'm just going to zoom out to the weekly here so that we can see just how much of a movement this has. The all-time high is at 22 cents. So between here and that all-time high, we can expect 14x. So is it going to happen right away? Nope, I don't think so. I think it's probably going to happen in January before we actually even break out of this area. Well, maybe by the end of December we'll break out of this area here, but I think we're going to find some areas of resistance on the way up, but that by the end of January, once AI is being adopted by these gaming ecosystems, we're going to see hyperbolic price patterns. They're just going to go crazy. Next, let's get out of that weekly chart now. Here we go. This is IMX. Some of our people in NextGen Merchants have gone into IMX, and we can see that after this drop here, this drop was sufficient. Sure enough, dropped 32%, 34%. That's more than enough for us to be satisfied with the retracement. This coming back and finding a little bit of resistance at this level, but as you can see, it's holding its own just above it. It's not dipping back down and tempting this one or forming a new low. So as a result, I believe we're going to see a little bit of a pullback, maybe finding support at this beautiful level here. We saw some price action in the past, so like can provide some, it may retrace a little bit, coming back to this level, and then continuing upwards. Super. I am super bullish on super. This one here has got some great consistency. Now it's got, I say consistency. Yes, I get it went all the way down here and has come all the way back up. But this here was a huge drop of 98% of its value. But imagine that. After 98% of its value is lost, this ecosystem remains strong, vibrant, and dedicated to pursuing excellence within the video gaming vertical. And since that low has come back up 27 times. So it is definitely still in the game. It is still providing some great. I want to say, whenever you create community, especially within this ecosystem that we're in right now, you are automatically going to outperform any other business. Automatically. In fact, if in today's world you are not building a community around your business, around your brand, you are not going to make it. Plain and simple. And so this chart here is a testament to how powerful the community is. They dropped the value of the people's coins dropped 98%, and they didn't lose any faith in what was possible. And since that time, they've recovered and likely will be finding support probably around here. Even here where we are right now, this could be the start of the next push up to the next pivot point. Right here. That would be another pivot point. And of course, the all-time high as well. But that we are not coming out of this anytime soon, simply because of the way that Super is designed. This ecosystem has a vibrant community across several games. I think they've got like 20, 30 games that are being marketed through this community. And so they're doing very well. And $1 billion market cap, halfway diluted. So we're going to see some volatility at the same time as we see the money coming in. Okay. Super is not going anywhere anytime soon, simply because of how expansive this community is across so many gaming ecosystems. This is a community of developers and gamers alike. And as they talk, they just keep making everything that they develop better. Again, because the community is what's driving the innovation. Next, we've got Clearpool. This is the real-world asset that I recently got started with, a real-world coin, real-world asset coin. I'm going to just quickly pull it up because it's a smaller market cap, 387 million, but we can consider it mid. And that provides me with some confidence going into this. It's not so low of a real-world asset ecosystem that, it's like, well, do I bother with that one? This one here actually has a lot more track record behind it. And because of its, this was back in 2022, just before we experienced the dead zone of crypto. And this whole dead zone didn't do anything to this community. And in fact, now we're watching it start to come back up, finding new supports. So already beating out the high that's on this one. Where does this high come from? Oh, that's from August. Yeah, that's right. This was coming out of August. There was another dip. But yeah, so it's doing very well. Look at how consistent this is. This is wonderful to see. Especially during during this summer when cryptos really weren't doing much, this had that nice consistent growth. And it's simply because these are real world assets. Okay, so the coin ecosystem of Clearpool is dedicated to helping people mint their real world assets as quickly as possible, focusing on computing technologies. So that the individual user in their home can actually rent their computer to provide processing power in a decentralized computing network so that less people require more resources at home to run their AIs. That's the real world asset that Clearpool is providing the ecosystem. Very, very powerful. Seed World, another new one. This one here is wrapped in Ether on this particular chart, and so the prices are in Ether. Very, very low. I think we did the math on this yesterday. Audrey, maybe you can confirm with me, but I do believe this is, 7 or 8 cents right now. Oh yeah, that's right, and it is already. Oh, look at that! It's already time to get our call going. So Ian was here earlier visiting, and he just reminded me that my call with him is up next. So we're just going to quickly run through the rest here, and I'll go to that meeting. Time ran away a little bit on me. So Sundog, this one here is still consolidating overall at a macro level. This one is still consolidating. Likely to see some breakout here happening soon. This trend line is definitely, the fact that it's below this trend line is a little concerning. I can tell you right now that if it goes below this old low, I'll be out. I'll look for another opportunity somewhere else. Bonk, this one's still doing fine. Just that retracement from that all-time high. 46% retracement, so it's ready to go. Again, it's just a meme though, so we don't count too much on it. We just recognize that, hey, whatever happens with this one is going to happen until I learn more about memes and how that whole world works. NPC dropped down, it has dropped down 50%, so definitely on sale. If you ever were thinking about getting in here and then now you're concerned because the price is down from this all-time high by 50%, don't be. This is just giving you an opportunity to buy again. There we go. Rattled through that pretty fast. I want to thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. If you have assets that you would like me to analyze, or if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and leave a comment. I get those all the time. And if you wish to contact me and talk to me privately, go ahead to X. And if you would like to connect with us on Telegram or get notifications on other events that we're doing, I invite you to connect with me here, manknownasppaul.com/connect. And on there, you can connect with me in Telegram. You can connect with me on X, YouTube, and even book a private session with me as well, where I can help you get set up to prosper through this this wealth transfer of the fourth industrial revolution. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.